key to achieve financial freedom is not how much you make, it's how much you keep. The expert calls it the savings rate. Today, I'm going over how to calculate your savings rate and provide you the tool for you to be able to track it to see your progress toward your financial freedom. This tool will allow you to see your savings rate, your spouse savings rate, as well as combined savings rate. As someone who have achieved financial stability, I cannot stress this enough. It is not how much you make, it is how much you keep. The more you can increase that savings rate by increase your income and decrease your expenses, the faster you will get toward financial freedom. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. You have the internet bubble, you have the financial crisis, and you have what happened in 2020. And it's not a matter if, it's a matter of when. And when you are financially stable and sound, that's one less thing that you have to be stressed about. This is why saving money and growing money is important. It's not the money itself, it's the peace of mind that it provides and the freedom to choose to do what you want to do when you want to do it on your own term, not dictated by the government, not dictated by the companies. That is true freedom. Depending on the source, different people calculate savings rate slightly different. Some people say total save divided by gross income. Other people say total save divided by net income. Some people count employer contribution. Some people don't. Some people count debt payoff, mortgage payoff as part of savings. Some don't. But regardless, what I always tell people, personal finance is personal. You pick and choose which one you want to count toward your savings rate, and whichever you decide, you just have to make sure it's consistent. Without further ado, I will show how I calculate my savings rate, what I include, what I exclude, and why I include them, why I exclude them. Here are the list of savings I include as part of savings. I group them under pre-tax savings and post-tax savings. Under pre-tax saving, I have tax-deferred retirement account, as well as HSA, health saving account. What most people don't realize, HSA is powerful. It's a triple tax advantage. It goes in tax-free, growth tax-free, and medical expenses are tax-free. Better yet, if you still have enough fund until you reach 65 and beyond, you can use that for non-medical expenses without the 20% penalty, but you just get taxed as ordinary income. A fantastic tool. Most people only look at it as a medical expense, as a medical premium, but if used correctly, it's a good additional retirement tool for your retirement years. I put in 401k contribution, and if you have a company that offers 401k bonus and allows you to put different percentages, they may separate the line item. So I put 401k bonus contribution as well. And of course, HSA, health saving account. If you qualify, it's a triple tax advantage. And then the next section is employer contribution, 401k match, as well as health saving employer contribution. I count this as savings because it's free money that the company provide. But whatever I count for these, I also count it toward the income. So whatever goes on the denominator, it goes into the denominator as well. If you have any traditional IRA, individual retirement account, that's part of savings going toward retirement. The next part is post-tax savings. So that's a tax shelter retirement account like Roth IRA. If you have employee stock purchase plan, also known as ESPP, I would include that as well. And then any brokerage account, I list here up to 4 brokerage accounts. That can be Robinhood, M1 Finance, Charles Schwab, or Fidelity. Include it here and just rename it to whatever account that you have it with. High yield savings account. This is a good cash reserve for in the event that the market downturn, you have 2 years worth of cash cushion so you can tap into the market when the market is down. That concludes the savings portion. And then the income, which is the denominator, that's your W-2 net pay. And then other incomes, that can be dividends, because that's income, right? That's income to me, that's income to you. Cost basis plus capital gains. The reason I put cost basis plus capital gains, this way I hold myself accountable. If I sell stock last year in 2024, that's because I put away money back in 2018. If I'm going to pull the profit out as well as the cost basis, I want to make sure I include it as income for this year. And if I don't put some of this back into investment, I want to make sure that it reduces my savings rate. So I'm holding myself accountable for that. And then any side hustle, any child support, medical premium, even though medical premiums get taxed before your net pay, I include that as part of income because you have control over which of the medical premium you choose. You have control to pick which type of vision plan you can pick. So in a way, you have some control over how much you can save. So include your medical, your vision, your dental, include flex spending or limited health care, FSA, any tax refund or tax owe, and I include that as well. The reason I put tax refund and tax owe as part of income, some people get high amount of refund, some people get very low refund, some people actually pay them back. And the only reason you get a refund is you overpaid for the whole 12 months for the previous year. And the reason you pay the government, you underpaid what you owed for last year. Your tax rate was already predetermined the previous year. The only thing that wasn't determined was how much you get taxed based on how much you earn. So if you get $5,000 back, it just meant that you overpaid $5,000 that could have been yours in 2024. So that should be your income. And then if you end up paying back, that means you didn't get taken out enough during the year. You just have to make sure you subtract that from your income from the previous year. I believe most people don't put tax refund or tax owed as part of the income section for the savings rate calculation. But I do it because how much you get refunded, it was your money in the previous year. How much you owed was you underpaying the government. So you also need to account for that as well. I made this area grayed out because it's formula. It contains formula, and automatically, if you enter any dollar amount in any of this section, it automatically put the same amount in the denominator in the income section, so you don't skew your savings rate, make you look like you save more than you actually did. So I put in the explanation at the bottom of the page. What goes in the savings rate are savings that go toward your retirement fund, your freedom fund. So that means things that are excluded are your mortgage payment, your debt pay down, your saving for wedding, your saving for vacation, anything that doesn't go toward your retirement are not included in the savings portion. Without further ado, I will walk you through this free template that you can use to track your savings rate. Let's get started. Once you open the link from the description below and you assign into your Google account, you can take the view-only document, the template that I shared, and make a copy. Now you can start editing it. When you first start, don't be alarmed that there is nothing in the dashboard section. That's because there is no data for the dashboard to visualize. And once you start entering the data, it will auto-populate. You don't have to worry about everything else. So I have two different tabs. The one tab is for your savings rate. The second tab is for your spouse or your partner's savings rate. Your first time using the sheet, you need to put in the year that you want to start tracking. And the nice thing about this is you can track starting different year than your partner. And if you're single, you just have to use one of the two sheets. Under My Savings tab, I want to start tracking in 2018. Once you do that, it automatically populates the year. And for the spouse and partner, I want to track since 2016. So two different people can track different starting year. And whatever you put as a starting year, it automatically add the year, make a full 30 years of tracking. I'm going to speed up the video so I can put in prior years before 2024, so you don't have to sit through and watch me type all the information. Now that I finished entering data up to 2023, I can show you how the sheet works once you enter the data point. The cadence in which I track savings rate is on a yearly basis, typically at the end of the year or right after I file the tax. So I have all the previous year pay stub as well as the tax return. The best way to get all the data for the previous year is just look at the end of year pay stub, and that should give you a summary of how much you contribute to 401k, how much you pay for medical premium, etc. And if you update this after you file a tax return, then you know how much you owe or how much is going to be refunded to you. In this example, John and Jane are married with 2 kids. John was paid $18 an hour in 2024, and Jane is maxed out at $25 an hour in 2024. And 2023 and earlier, all I simply did with the example is minus 75 cents from 2024, minus 75 cents from 2023. That's their hourly wage. And then as far as hours worked, John works 45 hours a week on average. Jane works on average 42 hours a week. And the reason I chose the hourly rate and the hours worked is much closer to the target audience that I'm talking to. In my area, top out ranges between 20 and 25. And for people that have worked several years at $18 an hour, it's quite normal. So if I backtrack further down, it's more closer in real life in my area. And as far as tax return go, it's not an accurate data. It's just a make-up data so that I have something to work with to show the progress on their savings rate. The way this works is anything in gray, do not touch, do not edit, because it contains formula. Only edit and enter in yellow shaded areas. So John 401k match was 255769 0. As you can see, once you enter the data, it automatically calculates it. And the savings header, it sums up all the different subsections. Nothing in traditional IRA. You can either leave it blank for nothing or put in 0. It's up to you. And nothing in Roth for 2024. Employee stock purchase plan. John purchased $1,300. Nothing in brokerage account. Nothing in high yield savings. And the net pay was $39,843.62. Dividends of $20. His medical is on Jane's premium, so nothing get deducted out of there. And they are married filing jointly, so nothing shows under his. Each section sums up each line item, and the total saving sums up the subsections. The net income, same thing. Let's go to Jane in 2024. Instead of bore you with me typing it, just gonna copy data over. $7,299.76. 401k match, $9,500, $1,000 from employer contribution. Jane put in $3,000 in Roth IRA, nothing in SPP. Brokerage account, $1,000. High yield saving, $600. Net pay was $34,140. If you try to type in an area where you shouldn't, I put in some protection, it will warn you. You sure you want to do this? Make sure you cancel out of it unless you know what you're doing. So that doesn't make any change. The data entry from my savings data entry tab, as well as my spouse and partner, they get inserted into the sheet that I hide, called raw data tabular format, and simply put in here, and the list is here. Make sure you don't delete this. Make sure you don't unhide it for any reason. I'm just showing you how it works on the back end. So once you enter that, the dashboard, you can select the year you want to look at, 2016 through 2024. So John can just look at his savings rate. You can look at his partner's savings rate, his wife's savings rate, or combined savings rate. You can also change when you want to look at it. Notice that even though the year goes all the way back, it doesn't include in part of the available year to pull from because there is no income. The way I set this dashboard up, it only displays the result if the income is greater than $0. So if you have a year where you want to show that $0 save and you want to show as on the graph, make sure you put in a penny under any of these subsection. So if I put in 0.01, a penny in 2025, then 2025 becomes an option, $0. Let's delete that. So let's look at John, how his savings rate looked. So 2020 through 2024 shows you in a graph format how much he saved each year. And also on the right side of the graph, it shows the savings rate percentage. John saved $5,166 in 2020. That's a 14.41% savings rate. The next year, saved $5,908. That's a 15.74% savings rate. So you can look at it in a graph format, or you can also look at it in a tabular format, and it shows the same thing. Oh, whoa, I mistyped this one. I meant to say 39,843.62. There we go. That's much better. Under the scorecard, it shows the amount saved for this year. So 6,927. That's down by 1,962. That's a 22.08% decrease. As far as savings rate goes, John saved 15.23%, which was down by 4.97 percentage point, which is a decrease of 24.62%. In the tabular format, 2024, John saved 6,927 with an income of 45,491. That's a savings rate of 15.23%. That's down by 1,962 from the previous year. That's a 22.8% down. John's savings rate was down by 4.97 percentage point, which was down by 24.62%. You can also look at 2023 for John. The graph dynamically changes depending on which one you select. Let's look at Jane. Jane did a fantastic job. She sees her saving growing every year. How did they do combined? Let's go back to 2016. 2016, 2017, they did not save anything, so that's 0% savings rate. 2018, they started to save some at 1.44% savings rate. And each year, they save more and more and more. If you notice, the percent change here is NA. Obviously, mathematically, you cannot divide it by 0. So anytime you have a change from 0, it's going to show as NA. Even though I started 2016 here, if I put in John saving, it didn't go 2016 because John did not start 2016. But if I put Jane, it shows her data entry. The savings rate is conditional formatted. If I click on that and go conditional formatting, here's the criteria for different color coding. And the criteria here is pretty aggressive. I put in anything that is less than 10% in red, anything between 10 and 15 in yellow, and only when you reach 25% saving, I put a light green. And then the only time I put in dark green is when it's 64% or higher. If you don't like the aggressive savings rate and how I color code them, you can change the parameters, but I suggest you don't mess with any of these unless you're well versed in Google Sheets. If you have any further question, I also have work instruction here as well. Over here, I put in the different color coding. From 0 to 9 is in red, starting at 10% is in light red, starting at 15% is orange, starting 25% is light green, starting at 40% just a little bit darker, and 64% or higher. You're on your way to retire, have financial freedom to choose where to work, when to retire, when to pursue your passion or purpose. But work is not have to, but get to. I don't know your situation right now, and you may think 64% is out of reach, but believe me when I say this, 64% is attainable. It may not be today, it may be 5-10 years from now, but if you take action today and continue to compound your knowledge, continue to compound your income, and reduce your expenses, 64% is attainable. I've done it. You can too. And 64% is attainable, and it's not deprivation. We cut down on things that doesn't bring fulfillment, and we splurge in things that do. And our vacation, the pool for the kids, and the things that we do, we are still enjoying life, but we are setting up for future as well. The reason I've been so aggressive in my savings rate, in our savings rate, is to get into that financial stability, to get into financial freedom, to get into financial independence, because it allows us the freedom to choose. And the macroeconomic factors outside of our control, we set up the foundation to withstand anything that comes at us. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. You have the internet bubble, you have the financial crisis, and you have what happened in 2020. And it's not a matter if, it's a matter when. And when you're financially stable and sound, that's one less thing that you have to be stressed about. This is why saving money and growing money is important. It's not the money itself, it's the peace of mind that it provides and the freedom to choose to do what you want to do when you want to do it on your own term, not dictated by the government, not dictated by the companies. That is true freedom. When you get the template, I'm going to hide the header so it's not too cluttered. There you go. I hope you enjoy using this tool as much as I enjoy developing it. And I'm very intentional when I develop any tools to share with the public, is that all you have to do is enter the data and the dashboard will do everything in the background, and it will give you the answer that you need pertaining to that metric, pertaining to that data. Your savings rate, your spouse savings rate, as well as combined savings rate.